Hey guys, this is Brandon with MotionFORM, and today we'll be looking at the second part in a series on making doors in Revit. And in this part, we're going to make a little more unique door, having some different differentiations, and also how to go into the in-place component function of Revit within a project to make a door. So if you're ready to get started to make some more interesting doors, then let's go. One little bit of detail that we can start to add to make this door unique is, of course, if we want to add elements like curvature or breaking up the door. And so I think we're breaking up the light, and we can add that very simply. So if we want to make, for instance, this a arched and divided light, all we need to do is go into our elevation, and we're going to start with our void. You're going to be doing pretty much the same thing. It's going to be making a reference line that will be going down from the trim width, and maybe that could be 6 inches, and it will go from here, and it will go from here. And what we can do for sure, now that we have that, is just copy our planes in such a way, and we'll just make our scale a little bit larger so we can see. And one useful thing in working with reference planes is to make them taller than the door so you can see them. So I've set up my foundation for my curvature. Now I just go into the void and go into the panel and do my division, but I'm also going to set our division for the trim in the middle. And what that looks like is actually creating a new reference plane, and then we'll locate it because we can't copy the center line. Okay, so this distance is going to be the same as my trim width for our purposes. Yeah. Right now it's a little bit large. I'm going to actually make it a little bit smaller. And be mindful that if these dimensions ever overlap, you're going to have to either put a clause into the program. I would say just try to keep regular sizes so you don't have a door that has a larger trim than the width of the door. So now I'm going to look at everything from this center point. And what we're going to do now is start adding that geometry division. And now we're going to add our new panel articulation. And you see I've made the 6 inches for where my circle is going to be. And I'm going to start with that. We're working with the void first, and then we'll work with the panel. So now we're going to make our arcs, start, end. And we're going to fillet. I press F for fillet. And now I'm going to draw my lines for my middle division. And I'm going to split top and bottom, so now it's going to be 2 different panels. And now I'm going to make sure that the alignment is correct. Now that I've done this for my void, I want to do that same set of geometry for the panel, though obviously it doesn't look like I have to, the glass sort of goes, but I'll do it just for propriety's sake. Edit the extrusion. Then I will, it's very easy now that I could just select the geometry from the other void. Now, one way to test that it works is by simply going to our exterior, setting our door to be wider. We see that the panel glass wasn't uniquely set, so we're going to go ahead and set that. We're going to make sure that everything is set up, so we'll undo. We're going to go and finish out from our void. I'm going to constrain this circle. I'm going to use that center mark. I'm going to make sure to explicitly link the center mark to those reference planes. We'll do that same thing for this side. We'll make the center mark visible, and we will constrain it. And we'll try that again. And we see that the duplicate panel is not correct, because the glass needs to pretty much do the same thing. So we just do the same sort of thing where we make the center mark visible on this curve. And we'll just use our plane that we will measure to that center mark on both sides. Now you see that we have a door, and we can go ahead and just come here and decrease the height, and we still have everything working fine. It's all parametric and it's all working together. Let's go ahead and save this as our door custom to light. And we're going to load into the project, our door collection. I'll go ahead and put this next to this. So now we see these two different doors. And we could just change our information. For instance, this door was at 8 foot. We want to make this 8 foot by 3. Let's do that, and everything changes parametrically. There we have 3 doors, and our wrapping up will be for sure to go into each of these and make sure that the glass is the right category and the panel is the right category. And panel is now the right category. The trim is not set, so we're just going to leave that alone for right now. But we'll do that same panel correction here. And we'll just click here. And there we go. And to make our panel trim, or the trim workable, we're going to double click. And we're going to go into our model. Our 3D in our model. We're going to click on that and one thing that is done in Revit is there is always a differentiation between the interior and the exterior trim. So I'll go ahead and just continue that. Exterior trim. And I'll go for my interior, do the same sort of thing. And I will just name this int trim. And I actually could name that frame. We'll go back to the here, make sure that's clearly labeled exterior frame. And now we'll just load this into the project door collection, overwrite the existing version. Now come in here and make sure that our exterior frame and interior frame are both going to be our frame material, door frame. We could have the exterior, painted, interior another color, but I think that'll be fine. And also double click into this family and do that same thing where our exterior frame is going to be one material and our interior frame will be another material. Okay. So I'm gonna save this file. And we're gonna load in project and close. And we will save this project. We'll come in here and both the exterior and the interior frame. Let me see if that will do. So we have our frame set. You for sure want to not just know how to make things from the custom family or from scratch. You also want to know how to make it in the model. So the only difference for sure, if I wanted to make a third door, if I go into South View, looking here, is that I would be starting without the custom information that is typically in the Revit file for a door. So that's a standardized information. But I can still really get a lot done. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like to make a in-place door. I'll sketch out what it should look like. Before I start it. And maybe this one we will, as opposed to doing the two side, we'll make a interesting pattern. Maybe a little bit of a curvy pattern. And maybe something the same on the top of the door. And what I'm doing now is just creating my detail lines that will comprise information for this door. So here's what I'm going to start with for this. I'm going to start by going to Architect and Model in Place, and I will select Door. I'll just leave it as Doors 1. I'll go to my 3D view, and I know that I want this door to be on this wall, so I'm going to set my working plane. To this. And now for my South view, I will start with things that are from scratch versus what is normally in the Revit family. And I'm creating my opening with this wall. So that's a unique thing. So it's not as much setting as many reference planes. I'm going to create now my frame. So that's this little frame around the door. And I'm going to really use my plan view to do that. And I'm going to use a sweep to do that. And the sweep is going to go all around the edges. I'm going to pick the plane. And I'll just now work on my profile. And we're going to go to level 1 view to start working on this. And I'm just going to make this very simple. I'm going to turn off the line weights. 3 inches by 3/4. And a lot of times for the trim, people don't put it in the doorway, which makes a lot of sense. But they actually cut out from the wall for the trim. So I'm actually going to make a small incision. I'm actually going to pull back the wall that same amount for my opening. This is going to help render appearance. So it's 1/4 inch. That's good. Now that we've actually edited the trim a little bit, now we see that sweep has a little bit of a profile, a chamfer. Well, we've added a panel, just a simple panel. But what I want to do, and I've set both of these to have the material here. One the frame material and one is the panel material. I want to go ahead and put a glass within the panel. What we're going to do, we're going to edit the extrusion. We're going to add the panel here. I'm going to copy this. We're going to go ahead and create the glass. And we use the door that we've created before. And paste from clipboard. Be fine. And there we go. Only this glass is going to be from -1 to -2. And then we're going to take a look at that. I want to save the project and go back in here. Just really simple. Turn that into glass. And that will be our model in place door. Okay. Now we need to work on the plan view for our door. We can see that our plan view currently just has a lot of elements that we probably want to hide in plan. Because it just is not really useful to be looking at this sort of material. So what we're going to do, we're going to close our model in place, and we see that that door is now hidden, but we see it when we open the family or that model in place component. We're going to insert the component of the door swing, which I've saved, and it's going to be in the project files. And we're going to do that similar thing where I show where that door is starting and closing. The only difference is going to be I'm not linking it to any particular distance. I can go ahead and put it in the middle of the wall, and now we'll see that now we have a proper representation. One thing that's still needing is for sure to put a door handle on here, and we're gonna go just insert that door handle that same way where we are looking at from before. We look at our door hardware, we get the entry handle, and we're just going to load our handle here. And the best way to do that for sure is in the elevation or our plan. And the only difference is I'm not really using a lot of constraints because this is very custom, but I can still align it the basic way. And one thing for sure to remember as well, just like with the previous set of information, you're going to make sure you click on it and you hide it in the plan. Finish the model. So that's the second part of this series on making doors in Revit. You should be able to really be confident about making a door in your generic to advanced set. Pretty much what you can draw, you can pretty much make a door about, and you're using the systems that are already built in Revit. If you got a lot of this video, then go ahead and give a like and subscribe to this channel. Go ahead, if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to help you. And thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned to more content from MotionFORM for architects and designers.